Today, Joe V is learning about a man who was a freedom fighter, a world leader, a Nobel Prize winner, and a lot more.
Joe is joining us from OMSI this morning to show us a new exhibit that explores the life of Nelson Mandela. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, so I'm back once again with Jen Powers from OMSI. Mandela, the official exhibition now open here. And Jen, we really do go for his entire life of Nelson Mandela in South Africa. There's a lot to pack in here, especially in a 2 or 3 minute segment. So I'm going to try to keep things brief, but hit on the important parts. So this was Nelson Mandela at about 19, at a younger age. Grew up in South Africa. As we mentioned, he came from a royal family, kind of lived in a rural area, but then he eventually moved to the city, Johannesburg. Now, this area here shows what life was like in South Africa in the 1940s, the 1950s, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here.
Yeah, so you're really seeing the segregation that existed in the big cities of South Africa.
And I think one thing that's here in the United States, we hear about the Jim Crow laws of the South and that sort of thing. This was an actual policy of the national government. This was everywhere in South Africa, and these were laws that were passed, essentially, right?
Absolutely, and a series of laws, too. It wasn't just one big law. There were many, many laws that contributed to this general segregation.
And it was everything. It was, blacks could only live in certain areas. You couldn't go, look at this sign right here. Now, Kafir is I shouldn't even say that. It's a racial slur. I shouldn't have even said it, but you would be shot if you would enter these neighborhoods. I mean, it was awful, kind of what they were experiencing, and this was the official government stance of the country. Hard to believe. No, we'll walk through here. You saw this, Europeans only. It kind of spoke for itself. Mandela became an attorney, right?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about kind of that journey.
Yeah, he had the privilege of growing up and going to school, and he eventually became a lawyer. He partnered with some people who had similar mindsets of him, and they actually opened up the first and only black-owned law firm in Johannesburg, and they were able to really start forming partnerships and ideals that would allow them to fight against apartheid.
And so let's come on in here, because he eventually does become kind of a youth leader, really, of the civil rights movement in South Africa. And at the time, all non-whites, because there were also Indians, there were other groups, you had to carry around what you called a passport everywhere you went, right? It was basically like a passport in your own country. No matter where you went, you had to show your passport, right?
Yeah, and there were only places where you had to have a passport to enter that zone of South Africa.
So this picture right here that you see, this is him actually burning his passport. And that was kind of, it was very much informed by Gandhi, nonviolence, initially anyways.
Right.
They burned their passports or their passbooks, and that was kind of a big show of defiance, right?
Yeah, and they called it the Defiance Campaign. That was kind of their civil disobedience. They wanted to disrupt the system.
So it took off from there. Eventually, he would go to prison for 27 years and then come out and become president of the country. It's a remarkable story. So we're going to take you through that to the best of our ability throughout the morning. But if you really want the in-depth story, and it really is an incredible one, come on out to OMSI. Mandela, the official exhibition, is open until February. As we mentioned, a number of really priceless artifacts on loan from the Mandela family, essentially. Yeah. So really cool stuff that you can see right here at OMSI, and we're going to show a lot more of that coming up a little bit later in the show. Guys, back to you in the studio.